everybody? It's Votonymous once again. Welcome back to another video. The
It's
killer,
Pinhead.
it is. The killer for Chapter 21 is Pinhead. Uh, Too bad for Springtrap. Hopefully he'll come into the game at a later date. But for now, let's talk
Pinhead.
about...
Pinhead's really cool though.
He is. Pinhead is really cool. Like I stated in my other videos, I did see the first Hellraiser movie, and I do like it. So I was
I
completely
haven't
fine with
seen the
Pinhead.
movies yet, but I have his design's very cool, very iconic design, and
Oh yeah.
the way they implemented him in the game is very cool as well.
Oh yeah. He
And
looks
his
really good.
perks seem pretty balanced, I'd say,
Oh yeah. He.
pretty decent.
So let's go over this. So his perk, Deadlock. You induce mental suffering by crushing any hope of escape. After a generator is repaired, the entity blocks the generator with the most progress for 30 seconds. You see its white aura during this time. So that could be pretty annoying, especially for the last gen that needs to be done, especially if you're like so close to having it be done. Uh, then it would just get completely blocked off. So that could be a pretty annoying perk to go up against, and I think it's one of the best perks he has, honestly. I think, what do
I'd
you think?
say it doesn't seem like a bad perk on its own, and I'm certain that the perk itself isn't the possible problem. It's just that there's the players that tend to do toxic builds, and this could be with other perks. This could become annoying, but I don't see any problems with the perk itself.
No, I think it'll be pretty cool. I think it's one of his best perks.
It'll
Uh,
be a very interesting mix-up in the game.
his next perk, his level 35 perk, is Hex Plaything. This is a very interesting one. This is very different from all the other hexes. The first time you hook a survivor, they become cursed, and Hex Plaything activates on a dual totem. The cursed survivor suffers from the oblivious status effect until Hex Plaything is cleansed. Hex Plaything's totem aura is revealed to the cursed survivor within 16 meters of it. For the first 90 seconds, only the cursed survivor can cleanse the totem. That's very interesting, although I don't see it being a major issue. Uh, just because it's only one survivor that's
And it can only
getting.
be done once.
Yeah, it
It's
can
only
only
the
be.
first person who's hooked, and then after that doesn't happen again.
Right. So I don't see this as a major issue. This only affects one person, and if the survivor gets close within the 16 meters of the hex totem, they'll be able to see it and they can cleanse it themselves. So I think that it's interesting to have a hex where only one survivor, like the survivor who's cursed by it, can cleanse it, even if it is for only 90 seconds. But I think that that's actually pretty cool. I think that's pretty interesting. Unfortunately, the hex doesn't really offer anything too serious because with them being able to see the totem for 16 meters and also it only making them go oblivious, it's not super. It's not fantastic. It's all right. That's my first impression with it.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is pretty interesting. But once again, like the perk itself doesn't seem too bad, but I could definitely see it being like a bit irritating with certain builds. But
uh, I don't know.
really depends perk.
If you went for some sort of stealth layout or loadout, I guess I could see this working, but wouldn't this actually, because if you hook them, then they become oblivious, and then you'd hope that they don't cleanse that totem, so that they stay oblivious. But wouldn't you then actually be tunneling them because you would want to sneak up on them and actually have use of the hex? Isn't that basically, isn't this like pro tunneling? It's kind of what this seems like to me. Uh, I don't know. I feel like this can, like, decisive strike and unbreakable can easily counter this. This hex is kind of like It's interesting, but I feel like it needs a buff. I feel like it's gonna get a buff soon, and I feel like it needs a buff. I don't think that this is an issue for
Yeah.
survivors, especially when you let them see where the totem is for 16 meters. It doesn't really matter. The last perk, Scourge Hook, Gift of Pain, or Scourge. My apologies. Scourge Hook, Gift of Pain. Uh, at the start of the trial, up to 4 random hooks are changed into Scourge hooks. You see their auras in white. When a survivor is unhooked from a Scourge hook, they suffer from the hemorrhage and mangled status effect until fully healed. The first time the survivor is healed, they suffer a 9% penalty to healing and repairing actions until injured again. This could pair well with so many different perks, like Thanatophobia.
Oh
Dying
yeah.
Light could be really good with this. So this perk seems like it could pair well with other perks to make it like really good. And I think it's pretty all right for survivors because there's only 4 hooks that are Scourge. And I feel like perks like, especially if you're slugged, perks like Flip Flop, Unbreakable, Tenacity, Boil Over, you'll be able to wiggle out, like wiggle off of them before they get to a hook. Unless you're right next to one of those Scourge hooks, then you're kind of doomed. But with if you're far away from one of the
The
Scourge
only
hooks,
time I could see this being a problem is on a very small map.
right? So like Midwich would be an issue. People would want to go to
Yeah.
Midwich with this perk. Uh, but it's not. I mean, looking at all these perks, Deadlock is really good, and compare with other things that would be really good. And Scourge Hook would be also very good and can pair with other perks. I think the only perk here that isn't really too amazing, in my opinion at least, is the Hex, which is very weird because usually the Hexes are very annoying, but this one's actually not really that great, in my opinion. It doesn't seem too good. Uh, and I wanna state this real quick. I've played more Survivor than I have Killer, and even I think that hex play thing is kind of a joke. So I could imagine
Yeah.
people who are actually like really into Killer and play Killer probably aren't super excited for hex play thing. They might skip over it.
Hayden's probably pissed.
Yeah, probably. Uh, Huntress main idiot. Anyway, uh, his ability is pretty interesting. So I'll go over this. Summons of Pain. Press the power button to create a gateway and release the button to open it. Once open, tap the ability button to summon forth a possessed chain under your control. Direct the chain into a survivor to bind them. My apologies. A survivor bound to a chain is unable to sprint. Their movement speed will decrease further as they're hit with a second and third chain. Survivors can perform the break free action to escape. So that's his first ability, and it's very Death Slinger, but kind of not because I we all got to see the gameplay of it. Uh, it's very interesting because you kind of pick where you want the gateway to appear,
Yeah.
and then it's like
Instead of being like a scorpion get over here kind of thing.
or Deathslinger just shooting the harpoon and reeling you in. It's more of a you pick where you want the gateway to be, and then you kind of have to aim with this weird perspective of the hook to hit the survivor, and then all that does is slow them down. Uh, and you can hit them multiple times, 3 times, I think. Yeah, 3 times with those types of hooks to slow them down so you could hit them. I think that that's a very interesting power. Kind of reminds me of Deathslinger, but it's pretty interesting take on it. What do you think, Chris?
I think it's pretty interesting. I think like it's gonna be pretty fun to go against. I like that it's not just Death Slinger as well. That it like has a
It,
similar kind of mechanic, but it works in a very different way.
Yeah, it's its own unique thing. It's actually pretty cool. Uh, I'd say the most intriguing part of Pinhead's ability is the Lamet configuration, which is, if left alone, the Lamet configuration initiates a chain hunt by summoning chains to pursue survivors. The hunt ends when a survivor picks up the Lamet configuration. Now, I've seen what that looks like. It basically makes survivors have a rough time doing generators or cleansing totems or healing each other because just randomly out of nowhere hooks will appear and they will latch on to you, preventing you from doing anything. So the Lamet configuration will be one of the biggest issues because somebody in the team of survivors is going to have to always keep their eye out for when the Lamet spawns in so that they can go to it and pick it up and solve the puzzle so that it can be gone for however long it's gone for. Uh, it also, so survivor carrying the Lamet configuration will be afflicted with the Oblivious status effect, and chains will occasionally be summoned to attack them. So basically, if you pick it up and you don't instantly start working on the Lamet, uh, chains do basically attack you almost instantaneously, and you can't do anything with or when you're holding the Lamet. You have to focus on doing the Lamet. You can't do anything else because all those chains will focus on you. I don't think that the chains will focus on anybody else now that you've picked the Lamet up, so they can work on gens. But
Yeah,
you
I believe
gotta,
it's just you now.
yeah, it's just you're the one taking it for the team. You just have to solve the puzzle. And it says here, yeah, the survivor must solve the Lamet to
Which is
remove
just
it.
a like a skill check kind
Yeah,
of thing.
it's just skill checks, and it's really fast too. It's like not slow at all. It's even faster than like finding the key for the reverse bear trap from the pig. It's really fast. To remove it from their possession. While doing this, the Cenobite will see their location and be able to teleport to it. I didn't get a good look at how far away or how close the Cenobite teleports to the survivor, but I do think that they teleport right in front of them, so you'll be able to see Pinhead coming straight at you. But yes, he can teleport to you, which is pretty crazy. Uh, Pretty nice ability, actually. I think that that's pretty cool. Uh, When the Cenobite picks up the Lamet configuration, a chain hunt is activated. Additionally, all survivors are instantly bound by
Very
chains,
interesting.
causing them to scream and reveal their locations. The Lamet configuration will spawn in a new location after the Cenobite or a survivor has used it. The Lamet is obviously the most interesting part of Pinhead's abilities. His hooks are cool. Like him being able to summon gateways to throw hooks at you, that's pretty cool. But it's the Lamet that really is basically what Pinhead is. It's what makes him so unique. So basically, what will happen is the Lamet will just spawn somewhere on the ground, and you'll be able to see it because it will be highlighted, and you just have to pick it up, and you just have to uh, solve it. It'll work like an item, so you'll have to drop whatever item you have to pick
I
it up
haven't
and then
yet
solve it.
seen him pick up the laminate, but it looks like it'd be pretty interesting.
I think what happens is I think I did see that. I don't think he physically picks it up. When he knocks down a survivor who holds the Lamet, it instantly activates as like him picking it up, quote unquote. So the chains will instantly start attacking other survivors. So if he successfully downs you
Uh,
while you have the Lamet, the chain hunt will activate. So you basically just let down your whole team. Is essentially what you did. Because now they're unable to do gens or heal or do totems
to
or
aid
do
him.
anything. Pretty much, yeah. Uh, Pretty interesting powers, pretty interesting perks. I think that the Lamet is one of the coolest things. I like when killers have like a secondary ability that's pretty passive. Because the Lamet is pretty passive. It does most of everything it does on its own. Almost like
Yeah.
Nemesis, where the zombies do everything on their own. I like passive powers like that. I think that's pretty cool. I haven't seen anybody, as of right now, I haven't seen anybody actually play Pinhead competitively. I've only seen people goof around and show off the powers and yada yada, uh, which I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see how he will work in an actual competitive game. I want to know if he's actually going to be a good killer or if he's going to be kind of on the lower spectrum. I think personally, as of right now, I don't see an issue with his abilities. I think that Hex Plaything does need some kind of a buff because it's not that great in my opinion. I think
Yeah.
Deadlock is completely perfect the way it is, and Scourge Hook, we need to see a little bit more of it. I don't know how effective the 4 random hooks are going to be, whether that's too overpowered and they need to decrease it, or too underpowered and they need to increase the amount of hooks that are Scourge. I guess that remains to be seen, but as of right now, I think Hex Plaything definitely needs a buff, and Deadlock can stay the way it is. I think it's completely fine the way it is.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so, pretty interesting killer, pretty interesting perks. Uh, I'm very excited for this chapter. It looks pretty good. Any final thoughts, Chris?
Discord needs to stop lagging while we're making videos.
All right. nice, nice final thought. I have a final thought. Fix Ash, and then maybe I'll love the game a little bit more. But hey, that's one man's opinion,
Pinhead's
right?
pretty cool, and I'm excited to get my hands on him.
Yeah, I'm
See if he
very
can be an
excited.
actual gameplay.
See, we're both losers, and we don't have Dead by Daylight on PC, so we don't play the PTB. We just watch. So we have to wait till September 7th. So I'm intrigued to see what gets buffed, what gets nerfed. I bet something will get buffed and get nerfed while he's out. That usually always happens. Usually.
I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on the people playing the PTB though. For now.
Oh yeah, same here. So Pinhead in the game. Cross him off of the list of killers that need to come to Dead by Daylight. Now let's just hope that sometime in the future we can get killers like Springtrap. That'd be pretty cool. But until then, I will settle with the Pinhead that we got. His ability is pretty cool. His perks are pretty neat. So that's about all. So thanks for watching this quick little video, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.